So first of all, tell me who you are and how you end up in Spain.
My name is Bill McKinley, and I live in Spain because I moved here to marry my husband almost 14 years ago. And I think that, at least in my case, adults around me realized it and were very protective of me and really nurtured me. They saw something special and different about me. And fortunately, the adults that I was around were supportive of me without calling it gay or without trying to direct me in one direction or another.
I read that you have been in conversion therapy, and that was a struggle because of your family, because they actually talked with someone to make you go through that. So maybe if you can tell me something about how was your relationship with your family and how did you end up in that situation?
And my parents loved me and my sister very much, and I think most parents want the best for their children, and they want them to have happy and safe lives. And it is not always a happy or safe life to be a member of the sexual minorities, LGBTQ+. And so my sister had recently died early, at a young age. I was 21 and she was 24. And so our family was very emotionally raw at the same time that they met this woman. And this woman was very charming, extremely charming, and very manipulative, but you never realize you're being manipulated, which is like a master manipulator. You don't even realize you're being manipulated. And she met me, and she very much didn't believe that homosexuality was anything natural. In fact, she would tell me how you didn't find it in nature, and now we know it's all over in nature. And she managed to convince my parents that they had a responsibility to try and give me the support I needed in order to choose to not be gay, in order to choose to be straight. And so my parents, the way she manipulated them and used the Bible and used her Catholic beliefs, my parents were Catholic at the time, she managed to convince them to try to create an environment for me in which I would see that change was possible.
And what type of exercises did you?
Well, as I mentioned, hypnosis, just suggestion while being hypnotized, and desensitization, sensitization. So looking at pornography with women in it, trying to find that attractive, looking at pornography with men in it, and even doing things, it's been a long time, but even doing things like looking at it and like sucking on a lemon so that you'd have a bitter taste in your mouth and you'd associate it with that. Anything she could do to get me to think negatively and non-sexually about men and to be open to being sexual and thinking sexually and romantically towards women. And it took me another year or so before I really realized something was, this just wasn't right. I wasn't happy. I put on a lot of weight. I was very unhappy, and I grew to not trust her. And finally I broke with her, and eventually I reached out to a radio talk show therapist. It was a nationwide radio show, and I called in one night, and this wonderful doctor talked to me on the phone, and I told him what happened. He's still alive, and I need to write him a note and thank him because he was so compassionate. I could almost cry talking about it. He said, I want you to know that you were sexually and emotionally abused. by this person.
Family. If you could speak with the families of an LGBTQ plus person or child, what advice would you give to them?
I think I would advise the parents and family of a gay youth. I think the answer is always love. But when you decide to grow a garden, which is what you do when you have a family, your children are your plants, your flowers, the things that you choose to grow. And you plant those seeds. I'm not trying to be like planting seeds as in impregnating, but you plant that plant, you start that plant not knowing what color the flower is going to be, or what if you think the flower is going to be a white rose, but it turns out to be a yellow rose. Do you pour bleach on the rose, or do you kill the rose? You nurture and tend the flower or the plant that grows, and that's your job. And if you happen to have a child who identifies as queer, whatever the letters are, and that's a problem for you, it's your work to work on, not to work on them.